I really want to make this Asmodeus video, but stuff just keeps going wrong. I tried to film it earlier and it told me that my battery was dying, even though I had plugged it in all night. Regardless, I think we're good now. So I love being floored by new realizations. New realizations so as to recognize long-standing miracles. For example, it wasn't for some time after I had started meeting with my boyfriend every week to do rituals that I discovered I had first spoken to him on the same day that I had first dreamed about Dantalion. At some point down the line, my boyfriend was feeling sentimental and wanted to reread our first conversation. He asked me to go back and screenshot it for him, and I saw the date. I was shaken. I want to give you guys a bit of background on what brought me to Dantalion, as well as what brought my current relationship to me. So, I don't ask to work graveyard shifts, but I just seem to migrate towards them. The past 3 jobs that I've had, they just consistently put me on graveyard shifts. And what that means is I work all night, and I sleep through the day. On May 26th of 2019, the moon had just moved into Pisces. I didn't know that. I didn't know a thing about the spirit Dantalion either, nor that he was associated with Pisces. But on May 26th of 2019 at 4:25 p.m., a man who works with Dantalion messaged me. I was sleeping. I didn't see the message. But during that sleep, I dreamed about Dantalion. I had my first ever encounter with him. And Dantalion came to me and gave me his name. He said that he would help me if I needed him. This action changed the course of my life. I woke up and I didn't realize that Dantalion was a real demon. I didn't know who he was. There was a moment where I went back and forth in my head as I got ready for work about whether I should Google the name that he had given me. I finally did. At 9:41 p.m. on May 26th, I found a moment before work to try to spell out the name that he had given me in my dream. And I discovered he was real. I got on Facebook to log the dream, and I saw a friend request from a man. As many of you may be aware, I do not just accept friend requests from people. I have tons and tons of messages in Messenger of me asking people, why the ad, where are you adding me from, and I still don't always accept. I was excited because recently I had like 999 friends, and I also had 999 requests. I went on to Facebook, and I had a friend request from this man. I accepted it, like I was in a trance. And I immediately asked myself, why did I do that? Is it because he's cute? I had no idea that he lived right by me. I tried to reconcile what I had done. I went to message him. It turns out he had already messaged me while I was sleeping, but I never saw the message because it went to my other inbox as we weren't yet friends. This man would go on to become my fiancé. Fate exists. Having rather hypnotically accepted his friend request, I shot him a message right away. In my mind, I was trying to reconcile what I had impulsively done. That was the word that I used in my head, reconcile. Like I had to reconcile my actions. So I sent him a message. And once I sent it, his previous message to me suddenly loaded because we were Facebook friends now, etc. He had messaged me while I was dreaming about my Dantalion. When I messaged him, he cut straight to it, asking me if I wished to meet and do a summoning. I clicked on his page in response and was like, holy shit, he lives like 20 minutes away from me. When I told him later I had no idea who you were, I didn't understand what had added you, I didn't know that you only lived a city over, his reply was to say that he knew. So, do you want to know how he found me in the first place? Where he came across my page, what made all of this possible? Asmodeus. I believed there had to be something to Arunda Overman, who runs the Order Algol, the one who screwed me over on the book. I believed that there had to be something to him. Because in the beginning, when I had been speaking to Arunda online, he sent me a PDF copy of his Order Algol book about his order for Asmodeus. I read the whole thing as a PDF. Less than a week later, a friend showed up at my house with a surprise present. It was his fucking book in physical form. My friend had zero idea that I had been speaking to the author. And I took that as a huge sign that I needed to pay attention to Arundel. I found myself a member of the Facebook page for his Asmodee group, albeit not a true member. Just doing him favors, where I saw opportunity, and showing him bursts of greatness that I watched him overlook. Overman constantly disappointed me with his misogyny. I do partially believe that not seeing clear potential speaks volumes of a person's competence and ability to recognize actual greatness. It certainly shows where their head is at. I thought these things, but I kept going out of my way to help him, and never asking for anything in return, because I believed I'd been given a sign. Even though I wasn't a member of the Order Al Ghul, when he was banned and he needed his group transferred over, I was the one messaging all of his members and doing the transferring and doing all these things for him for no reason other than I thought I'd been given a sign to pay attention to Arundel. At the time, my boyfriend was the highest ranking member of the Al Ghul, but he lost interest in Arundel and moved on shortly after we had met. My boyfriend had found my profile in that Asmodeus group and messaged me on the day that Dantalion entered my life, quite probably at the very same time. I remembered all of this because I had the audacity to ask my boyfriend if he would do me a favor and please try to establish a relationship with Asmodeus, because I'm feeling pretty strongly about the spirit's interest in me. Then it came crashing down on me, the memories, the context. I was being given a sign to pay attention to Asmodeus. It's only taken me this many years to catch his memo. We are forged in the furnace under pressure and bonded through spirits. I like to imagine our union must be pretty important to be worth all that. But now, Asmodeus has re-entered my life. Did he ever leave? With a resounding bang. Not to be missed again. I am both grateful and astounded at how bold and how loud he has become. It makes me wonder if the events leading into this were there to prepare me, because it's like instant love to find myself so suddenly humbled, and to discover that something has been there for years, even though I was blind to its presence. Was it waiting for me? Was it helping me to get stronger and waiting? The realization that it might have wanted me, might want me. It's like years of support, years of bonding installed within an instant. I feel like I'm in relationships with demons and I don't even know it yet. They're still waiting for me to get good enough to be worthy, but they know that I'm coming whilst I'm clueless. And the signs are there, you just can't see them until you have eyes, until you do. And then you're permanently changed. You see it always. Don't even get me started on the recent bangs, the Asmodeus developments. So I wear Bluetooth earphones on the ride to work every day. And I listen to the Shimhambrash chapter on Audible from the 3 Magical Books of Solomon. Every day, presently, it's my routine. So you guys know I've been kind of like on an Asmodee kick. As I've stated, I believe that he went out of his way twice now to help me get this song for Dantalion. The song that I'm still currently working on. It's not finished yet. I've posted, I think, like 2 drafts. But I've added more to it, and I'm so close. But so, to show my gratitude to him, the other day, a couple of days ago, I spent hours and hours and hours. I was painting for Dantalion, and I was setting up Dantalion's altar again. And as I was doing so, I burned through my Dantalion's Chariot playlist. If you go to my page, my YouTube channel, you'll see that I have a playlist that's specifically for Dantalion. But I burned through all those, and then I started doing Asmodee stuff. And I did like an Asmodee enchant that itself lasted 3 hours. So it was way over 3 hours, because I also did like a guided meditation, and I did additional things to Asmodee. And then that night, I ended up... I made a video about it, but yeah, I ended up having like astral sex. And I wasn't asleep, like I'm not even talking about like a dream. Even though I do think that I have visions in my dreams, it wasn't even a dream. Like I was awake. So I've been on like an Asmodee kick. And today, or last night, because I work overnight, I sleep during the day, but prior to leaving, I was listening to a YouTube-generated playlist on my laptop. And once I had finished preparing for work, I closed my laptop, which usually silences it, but oddly, the music was still playing. I don't have YouTube Premium, so this was unusual, but I was on the move. I didn't have time to deal with it. I came back into my room, opened the laptop again, muted it, then closed the screen for a second time. So afterwards, I exited out into my living room and turned on my Bluetooth earphones, and my Bluetooth earphones, they're connected to my phone, but they're intermittently, they were jumping to my laptop like they were wrestling for the connection, because I'd previously been connected onto the laptop from the Bluetooth earphones a while ago. So the playlist was apparently still playing on the muted and closed laptop, and the Bluetooth earphones only connected to the, they only connected to the laptop in order to play 1 word of song lyrics. I was far enough away from the laptop that I only walked into like a single pocket of sound. So my Bluetooth earphones said connected, then I heard like operatic, like Asmodeus, and then the Bluetooth earphones said disconnected. It was the single lyric was from the song They Came Wearing Masks. I didn't even create this playlist. I clicked on one that YouTube had generated for me based on my liked music. And like, the playlist had continued to play even when I closed the laptop, even though I don't have YouTube Premium. And only that one fucking word ever played through the earphones was Asmodeus. And it happened to be at just the right time. I want to make music for Dantalion, but I need help with the instrumentals. One guy said he would help me, but he kept stalling and jerking me around. Something strange happened there. I got irritated with him, and I told him he was disrespecting both Dantalion and myself. I then removed him from our group chat, which is Astral. Reportedly, within minutes, he was jumped by several strangers. I wasn't there to witness the circumstances, but he was in and out of the hospital. Towards the end, he asked me to look into Belial and Abaddon for him. This boy was not even an occultist. I asked him why me, and I never got to read his reply because he unsent the messages and died shortly afterwards. For years, I've been asking my musical friends to help me create material for Dantalion, and mostly they say that it's asking too much. Tell me why, then, it was Overman who was first willing to make me something, rather spontaneously, and then he couldn't seem to remember the track later on. He only vaguely remembered that he had created one when I brought it up. Opinions aside, Overman does run his own order for Asmodeus. Due to our falling out, I didn't feel comfortable using his instrumental, in spite of my great need. So tell me why, after years without manifestation, the next person to offer up a track was also a disciple of Asmodeus. In fact, he told me that Asmodeus himself desperately wanted me to have this for Dantalion. Sorry, I got a friend request. Oh yeah, guys, I made a new Facebook. I'll put a link in the description, because there are people out there pretending to be me. But so, Arundel made me a song, and I wasn't really comfortable using it. And only a couple of months later, this after years of trying to get artists to help me create material, the next person who popped up and made me a song was also a disciple of Asmodeus. And he told me that Asmodeus desperately wanted me to have this for Dantalion, and that he's just an intermediary, and he put himself in the tide of our shared love, Dantalion's and my own, in order to create it. He told me, too, that Asmodeus advised him in March that Arundel would be revealed for a fool, with my book being released only 3 months later. When I asked this man if he had anything he wanted mentioned in this video, he can be quoted, "Each of us are far more intricately designed than we realize. There is so much intention and forethought put into everything that will happen in the course of making you. You must pay attention to this. You will see the master's hands at work." He says as he typed that his phone randomly zoomed in on a picture of my face with no input. But he goes on to say, "As they sculpt you in your life, you will understand your substance and what you must do. You will be spoken to." Because of this, I opened myself up to Asmodeus. From full-blown hallucinatory experiences. Oh gosh, I don't even think I told you guys about that. I know I typed it up. But I don't think I talked about it out loud in a video, and I don't know how many of you guys actually read my descriptions of videos, even though you totally should, because there's a lot of info in there. This is the hallucinatory experience. I was trying to go to bed, and for the second time since this started, meaning that all of this has happened within a week, by the way, I felt the sensation of something touching my body, touching my skin. Oh, by the way, I got sleep paralysis again today. And I had like a full-blown orgasm during the sleep paralysis. And it was so crazy because you got to think, like, everything is like vibrating around you. It's crazy. And I'm immobilized, but everything around me was vibrating so much. But that was today. Like, as I'm recording this, that happened today. What I'm reading you now is the description I typed up for an event that occurred likely on August 15th of 2022. But so anyway, I get sidetracked. I'm like the definition of ADD. So I felt the sensation of something touching my body, touching my skin, not just me fantasizing. It was a secondary sensation of being interacted with physically. I need you to understand that I felt it touching me, and I looked through this archway that leads into my bathroom, and it was like I could see the air. Let me see, hang on. It's like this archway. In the air of that opening, however, I could see. I mean, naturally it looked like a door because the opening itself is door-shaped, but the air was not clear. Like, I could see, and I could see that the room beyond it, like where my sink is, was flickering and flashing as if there were candles in there. Dancing. But there were no lights and there were no active candles. I saw some bright flashes too, beckoning me. Like, how could I resist that allure? I got out of bed and I went through the archway on purpose, like deliberately. I was like, I'm going to go to bed, but I'm going to walk through this door first. And in the corner there was like this prism of fire that was made out of light. And I stuck my hand into it. And butterflies made out of light landed on my hand first, then started moving up my arm. I said something to the degree of how I wanted this, but I don't remember my exact word choice. I was encouraging the phenomenon. I was excited and scared that it would stop. It did not. I lifted my hand from the firelight thingy, and I watched as smoke rose from the tips of my fingers. Not real smoke, obviously. I guess these events were illusions, but all of the hallucinations were bent out of like a strange firelight that was raging in the corner of my bathroom. When I stuck my hand back into the prism, it was like the butterflies again, except this time it was medium-sized spiders, like the size of a small tarantula that emerged. They weren't frightening. I loved it. But they did the same thing. They started inching along the trail left by the butterflies, who had already vanished, so they climbed upwards from my hand up my arm. So that's what I mean when I say full-on hallucinatory experiences. It was really amazing. And then I already talked about how, like, the first day that I was... Fuck me. It's really hard because I sleep during the day and I stay up all night, and it's just really hard to translate things into, like, language and time and concept, and I'm such a fucking freak of nature. By the way, look at these lovely candles that I made for Asmodeus. Or candle holders. I painted them myself. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they beautiful? That's the song. I put it on there for inspiration. I think I actually might be done with it.